Hello and welcome back to Coachable Moments. I am your host, Pat GPT, and I've got an exciting topic to talk to you about today, and I think it's something that we all can relate to. The name of the title is If It Doesn't Fit, Don't Force It. And this topic really hit home for me because I personally, over the years, have found myself giving so much of myself to try to fit the ideal of what I thought my person needed or deserved or wanted. And you'll find yourself at the end of that journey like completely empty oftentimes because you've given so much of yourself to try to fit what someone else needs. Um, and you'll end up ignoring what you need for yourself. So, um, when I was thinking about that earlier, I was just driven to do this podcast because I feel like it'll help some of you um, identify this same trend in your life and hopefully avoid some of the mistakes that I made. So, again, if it doesn't fit, don't force it. When I was thinking about this conversation that I was going to have with you all today, I was reminded of some of the animals in nature. In specific, I thought about the snake, and the snake often sheds its skin. Some of them on a monthly basis. Some every few months, but they go through this process of removing themselves from something that no longer serves them. In this particular case, it's their skin. They outgrow their skin, and so therefore, in order to expand in their life, they have to remove themselves from something that's restricting their growth. And quite often, we'll do that as humans, um, or we'll refuse to do that, rather, because sometimes growth is painful. We may have a person in our life that we can't see ourselves living without. And before I say that, I'm in no way advocating, you know, separation, divorce, or anything like that. Um, but more so, I want you to be mindful of your behavior in these situations to determine whether you're exhausting yourself trying to live up to someone else's ideal of who you are, or whether you're being genuine in your intent to be a good partner or a good spouse to the person that you're with. So, back to the snake. When the snake sheds, is because the skin is restrictive. It's not going to allow them to expand into a larger version of themselves. Um, so they, in turn, remove themselves. They kind of peel out of that old skin so that their new skin can fill in. And the thought of doing that can be very painful in the sense of removing yourself from a relationship or a friendship or a business partnership that's no longer healthy for you. Um, so, in thinking of the snake, what usually happens is where the snake shed its skin at the location of that, you often find that the snake returns to that same place when it's time for him or her. I'm not for sure you know what they call themselves. Could be it. I don't know. But wherever they shed their skin, they return to that spot to shed again when it's time to repeat this process. And so in life, a lot of the times when we when we break up or we separate or we divorce, humans do the same thing as snakes. We return to those places that brought us comfort, where we felt safe to come out of that version of ourselves and walk into the new version of ourselves. It could be returning to an old relationship or an old hookup or whatever the case may be. You felt safe at that location, so you return to go through that same ritual again. So, um, I want to really focus on the importance of realizing that you're in a place that you've grown out of and that there needs to be a separation in order for you to go to the next level of your life. It's very painful because what you'll find is that you give so much of yourself trying to be good enough for someone, um, that you'll end up not even being good enough for yourself. I mean, your fuel tank will be left on zero trying to live up to what someone else's expectations of you are. And it's unrealistic to be 100% of what someone else's needs are, because there's a responsibility that they have to meet their needs themselves. You're supposed to be a help or a helper in their quest to meet their own needs. But oftentimes it's easy for us to, and especially men, because we have that fix it mentality where all you have to do is tell us what the problem is and we'll jump in and try to fix it. And oftentimes you'll overextend yourself trying to help someone else in their situation. So you have to be very mindful that we have to allow each other to solve our own problems, and we're be willing to help, but at the same time you can't do it 100% for them. You have to allow them to share their own skin so that they can grow into the fullness that they were meant to grow into. All right, so some of the things that will help you in this, first is you have to set healthy boundaries. um, and that's very often hard to do at times, um, because we don't want to disappoint people. We sign up to be the love of their life or to be their friend, and we don't want to disappoint. But you need to set a healthy boundary of what is reasonable for you to do and what's outside of your comfort zone. You definitely don't want to hurt yourself trying to help someone else and end up in a worse situation than the person that you're trying to help. Another tool that'll help you in this situation is asking the person that you're trying to help, you know, what are they going to do to get themselves out of this situation? And allow them to create some courses of action for themselves, some things that they plan to do, and not just allow you to be the person that solves the problem completely. Um, the third thing is just knowing when to say no. Uh, you know, that's hard to do in certain cases because you actually care about the person that you're with or the friend that you have. Um, but being accountable to yourself, knowing what you can do realistically and what you can't do, and having that courage to say, no, I can't do that, but what I can do is this. And once you can do what's within your scope, what's within your bandwidth to do, you have to accept that and be fine with that decision. Um, so again, I hope this message and these tips are helpful to you. And remember that everyone is not going to fit in your life, and they may fit for a season, but they may not be meant to fit for the duration of your life. And you have to be aware and mentally engaged enough to know when you're being taken advantage of or hurt, or whether you're hurting yourself by continuing to allow certain things to linger when you know that it is no longer good for you. So hopefully this will help. I pray that my words have blessed you today. Continue to enjoy life, make the most of it, and continue to walk in a grateful spirit. Have a good evening.